If you're in like a type of speech class, it's probably not a good idea to bring your knitting or your crocheting to those kinds of classes because you'll so be into your project that you won't be able to focus on what the topic is about, or you won't be able to focus on the skill you're doing. And it's just not a good thing, and it shows that you're more into your project than actually focusing on what you're supposed to be doing, whether you're in class or like a speech class. And it's just not a good thing to bring. So if you can't multitask, like socialize and knit or crochet, it's probably good to leave your knitting or your crocheting at home, just to be on the safe side. Before we start this video, I would like to apologize for the sun glare beaming on my face. The sun is peeking through my window right now, so let me see if I could try to fix that really fast. Oh well, at least I tried. Hi everybody, it's Mena. Welcome back to my channel, or if this is the very first video that you're seeing of me, then welcome to my channel. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button down below if you didn't already. I post every day except for Tuesday and Friday afternoon sometimes, and today I have a Knit With Me story time today. And today's Knit With Me story time is going to be the time I brought my crocheting to speech class by mistake, and I was so hooked on my project that I was working on, I was not paying attention in speech class, and the lady had to make me put my crocheting away, and I picked the worst time to actually crochet during my speech class, which is not a good thing. And this lady was just trying to do a class with me, and I felt bad because it wasn't very fair to the lady. So this is a story just to teach you guys, if you're knitting or crocheting and you're trying to work on a project, you should always probably keep your knitting or crocheting at home, because sometimes it can be quite difficult whether you're at school or you're in some kind of speech class and you can't focus on speech and knit or crochet at the same time. I know sometimes I have a problem with that, but it gets very difficult. So you should always make sure that when you're going to a speech class, you should leave your knitting or crocheting at home, so then you can focus on your speech class. And because if you bring your knitting or crocheting, you'll be so hooked on your knitting or crocheting you won't focus on your speech class. So I'm going to get started, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. So this one all started about almost 21 years ago. It was the summer I finished my fourth grade year. I was in my speech class. I was working on my crocheting. I was making a pink scarf, and I was first learning how to crochet, and it was a very ugly looking scarf, I'm not gonna lie. This is the summer I finished fourth grade, like I said, and I had just learned how to crochet, so I was crocheting a little bit in the waiting room while I was waiting for my speech class to start, and I was so busy crocheting that my friend from speech, who was in my speech class with me, showed up, and she was trying to talk to me, but I wasn't paying attention because I was so focused on my crocheting. And so all of a sudden the lady for my speech class calls us in, and I come in and I'm so hooked on my crocheting I cannot put it down. I don't know why. This is like me with knitting, but except I was crocheting, and I keep crocheting, and I'm like so hooked onto my crocheting. They're talking about, like, the lady's talking about her vacation or whatever she was doing, and I'm like talking about crocheting. I am just so not paying attention to what I am doing, and I'm just talking about how my grandmother crocheted, and the lady's trying to talk about her vacation and stuff. So I'm just way too hooked on my crocheting. And so finally my teacher politely asks if she could have me put my crocheting away so I could focus, because I literally was not focused in speech class. So the lady put my crocheting aside until speech was over, and then all of a sudden the lady starts talking about her vacation, and my friend in speech class is talking, and she's like, and I'm just not into it. I'm just like looking all bored because I don't have my crocheting in my hands, and I'm yawning, and I'm rudely yawning, and it's so embarrassing, and I do not like my behavior, and at that time I was not realizing what I was doing, and And I was just so bored the entire time because the lady had taken my crocheting away until speech class was over. So once speech class is over, my mom picks me up, and then they send me home with the videotape. And my mom starts watching the videotape, and she watches it on the VCR, because at that time we had a VCR, and she sees that I am working on my crocheting the entire time and not paying attention to the lady at speech class. And I'm talking about crocheting. Yeah, I do this a lot with knitting, is whenever I'm knitting, I talk about knitting. Yeah, anyway, so I'm like constantly like not paying attention to the lady, and as my mom watches it, she's showing me all this and telling me what I'm doing, and she's not very happy with the way I was behaving in speech class. And suddenly, once I'm watching all of this, I'm kind of embarrassed by my behavior in speech class. I felt like I was super rude, and I felt super bad. So the next time I had my speech class, I apologized to the girl who was in my speech class and the lady in my speech class, and the lady was very nice. She just told me that I was not allowed to bring my crocheting to speech anymore because I was just not focused and everything. So everything went pretty smoothly once I started talking, and when I didn't have my crocheting with me, I started focusing on speech class, and it was a very good thing for me. And I was able to talk to my friend who I had my speech class with, and we were just having a great time, socializing, talking, and just having a very good time. We were asking about what we've been doing, what shows we've been watching, and I was just able to focus just because I did not have my crocheting to distract me, which was such a good thing, because when I was crocheting in speech class, I literally was just not staying focused. But when I didn't have my crocheting, I was able to focus much better in speech class. So the moral of the story is, when you're taking a speech class and you want to bring your knitting or crocheting, don't do it, because you'll be so focused on your knitting or crocheting that you won't be paying any attention to what's going on in your speech class, and you'll be so hooked on your knitting or crocheting that you won't be able to pay attention to the topic they're talking about, especially if it's not about knitting or crocheting. And it's just not really a good thing to like bring, because you'll be so into it and you won't be able to focus on the conversations that are going on, all the topics they're talking about, just everything in general. So probably not a good idea to bring your crocheting to speech class, because you won't be able to focus, or your knitting. So that was a story about how I accidentally brought my crocheting to speech class. I hope you guys enjoyed the story. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I post every day except for Tuesday and Friday afternoons sometimes, and I'll see you in another video soon. Bye. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe.